And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed. To you it shall be for food. Genesis 1:29. Man did eat angels' food. He sent them meat to the full. Psalm 78:25. Everyday Manna with Lisa.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Everyday Manna. Today we are going to take a trip to Korea. I have developed this intense love of Korean food, and I have scoured and looked and researched and done all kinds of different things trying to get those flavors into my kitchen, because where I live we don't have a Korean restaurant. So today we are going to make a Korean beef bowl, which is so easy to make. You can do it there in your home with ingredients that are readily available. We're going to make a spicy Szechuan blistered green bean dish, and then I'm going to make, the national dish of Korea is kimchi, which takes a long time to make, but you can buy it in the grocery stores. But I took the flavors of kimchi, which is a pickled preserved cabbage, and I made a cucumber pickle, a quick cucumber pickle with the flavors of kimchi. So we'll get to that in just a minute. What I've already done is I have 1.5 pounds of lean ground beef. That's all I've done, and I'm just browning it in the skillet. I'm just using a very lean ground beef. You could, if you wanted to, use like a sirloin steak and chop it up fine. But they use a lot of ground beef in Korea, so this is one of the dishes that I thought would be very easy to make with ingredients that we can find. So that's all I've done, is I've got 1.5 pounds of lean ground beef. This is going to serve about 4 people, but maybe it's just you, or maybe you and one other person, a couple, or just 2 people. You could easily take any of these recipes and divide them in half and make half the recipe. Or you could make the full recipe and put it in your refrigerator and warm it up later in the week, and it would be wonderful. But most all of the recipes that I do, if you are just 1 person or 2 people, because not everybody feeds a family of 4 or 5 or whatever you have, you could have the recipes. But this is so good and so addicting that you're going to want to make the whole thing and eat it all, probably. I could eat it all myself over a period of 2 days, no problem. You want to kind of break up the beef. You really don't want big chunks of the beef. So I just take a wooden spoon, and as it's browning, I just break it up. You want to get rid of all the pink. Now this is one meat, ground beef, that I will not eat if there's any pink in it, and I don't advise you to do that. I advise you to make sure that your ground beef is completely free of any pink. Now steaks or something like that, it's perfectly fine to have it medium, but not ground beef. And the reasoning for that, in case you don't know, is of course ground beef is a whole big cut of meat that they grind up. And the surface could have bacteria on it. When they grind it, it gets inside. Whereas if the surface has the bacteria and it's a whole piece of meat, it's coming into direct contact with that heat, and that kills it off. That's why you should always make sure that your ground meats are cooked thoroughly. If it has a lot of fat in it, you will want to drain it off. But this is a lean. This was ground round because that was what was on sale at my grocery store. So I really don't have a lot of excess fat in this, so I'm not going to be draining it. Now the flavorings of this dish are very easy and very easy to find. There are some ingredients that are used pretty extensively in Korean food that are fairly hard to find where we live. Now I will say, in the Tri-Cities area, there are 2 wonderful Asian grocery stores. If you have time and you've got one near you, I encourage you to take a couple of hours, because that's how long it takes me, and just go there. And it's incredible at the differences in the foods that other people eat and we eat. There are ingredients that are different, and I do have a few of those I'm going to show you in just a little bit. but just the smells and the textures and the variety of things, it's worth just going and walking through just to see what they have. That is totally how I come up with new recipes. People ask me all the time, how do you come up with new things? Because if I go someplace and I have the time, I love to look in new markets, places that are maybe different. I was in Knoxville recently and had the time, and I went to a Turkish grocery store, which I'd never been in. I went into an Indian grocery store, which I had never been in. My mind just goes crazy with seeing those different things, and I want to learn how to cook Turkish and Indian food. I'm working on that for the future. But Korean, there's a wonderful Asian grocery store in Knoxville, a huge one. But there's here in the Tri-Cities, there's a couple too. You know, and if you scout it out, I guarantee no matter where you are, you're going to find something. And a lot of the grocery stores now have wonderful international sections of ethnic foods in their grocery store. So it's easy to find these things. That's brown. So what I'm going to add is about half a cup of dark brown sugar. If you don't have dark brown, you can use light brown. There is a difference in the flavor. Dark brown sugar has more molasses. So there is a little bit of a difference in the flavor, but you know, you can use the light brown if you don't have dark brown. I keep both in my pantry because there is a difference. Some soy sauce. Now, not soy sauce, excuse me, sesame oil. When I say sesame oil, I'm talking about the dark roasted Asian sesame oil that you can find anywhere. You know, $3 a bottle. I do keep that one in my refrigerator because it will spoil quickly. But it adds a smokiness and a nuttiness to the dishes that you cook with. I use it a lot and in a lot of different things. And as a matter of fact, I think every recipe I'm doing today has that in there. A little bit of salt and pepper. Just a little bit. Garlic, of course. And crushed red pepper flakes. And that's it. That's all there is to this dish. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to serve it two different ways. I'm going to turn that down and I'm going to let that simmer for just a few minutes. And you can serve this over rice that you have cooked. But in Korea, a lot of times the dishes that they serve it in lettuce leaves. And that's one way I'm going to show you today. So buy some lettuce. Now, they have a specialty type lettuce that I can't find, but any leaf lettuce will work. And you're going to put some in there and serve it and wrap it all up. And in Korea, it's a tradition that they wrap it up so small that they can fit it all in their mouth at once. I don't do that. But we're going to serve the beef bowl in some lettuce, or you can serve it over rice. But that needs to simmer for just a minute. I'm going to take a quick break, and when I come back, I'm going to start on the wonderful cucumber side dish that you are going to want to make and keep in your refrigerator at all times. I'll be back in just a minute. Hi, and welcome back. Now, I forgot one very important ingredient in my beef, and that's fresh ginger. So you want to take, this is a hand of ginger that I have peeled, and I'm just going to grate about a teaspoon in my beef dish. You'll find garlic and ginger are two ingredients that are used pretty extensively in most Asian cuisines, whether it be Chinese or Korean or Thai. There's differences in all of this. There's different provinces in China that have different type foods. So that's about a teaspoon or so of just freshly grated ginger. Now, this is one ingredient that you cannot substitute the dried ginger. It is a totally different flavor profile. Not anywhere close to the same flavor. You really do need to find the fresh ginger, but all grocery stores carry that. It's got a little bit of a spicy heat almost to it. I love it. Use it in many things. Instantly, that perfume of that ginger just is wonderful. Now, we're going to start. Now, kimchi, like I said, is the national dish of Korea. And Koreans eat kimchi for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with every meal that they eat. It is a pickled fermented cabbage that they, it's very, very spicy, that they make when Napa cabbage comes in season. And they put it in jars. A lot of times they bury it in the ground and they age it for up to a year to let it ferment. It has this funky flavor profile. I happen to love it, but I really love sauerkraut. If you are a person that really likes sauerkraut, then you probably would like kimchi. But I've never made it. I make a quick kimchi slaw, but you can buy it in the grocery stores. But I like cucumbers, and I love to have a pickly, cool salad type dish with a hot, spicy dish because it does cool the palate and it just tastes wonderful. So I thought, well, how could we take the flavors of kimchi with easy to find ingredients and make a cucumber salad? And this is what I come up with. Now, this particular product is the one thing that I have never found in a regular grocery store. But you can find it in Asian stores, or you can order it online. It's called gochujang, and it is a red pepper paste. It is extremely spicy and hot, but I love it. If you cannot find this, then I do have a substitute for you. This you can find everywhere in the grocery stores. But the thing you got to look out for is I found 2 jars. And they're totally different products in case you don't know that. This is sambal olik, which it says below it, a ground fresh chili paste. This is chili garlic sauce, 2 entirely different products. So if you're going to if you can't find the gochujang, then you can use the sambal olik, but make sure that you read that it is the garlic paste. You can find this just about anywhere in any well-stocked grocery store, in the international section where you would buy your soy sauce. But I'm going to use this today. And you're going to need about a teaspoon or so. It's a very thick paste. This is used extensively in Korean cooking. And so I do get mine. I find it in the Asian grocery stores that I go to. But I like hot. So I'm going to use about a tablespoon. I would start with a teaspoon until you learn the flavor profile of that because it is very, very spicy. To that, I'm going to add some salt. I'm going to make my dressing first. A pinch of sugar just to offset the heat a little bit. Some sesame seeds, about a tablespoon or so, toasted sesame seeds. Again, that same sesame oil, the dark toasted sesame oil. Some rice vinegar. Now here's my son, Austin. I have to buy this stuff literally by the case because every single day of his life, he eats a cucumber sliced in the vinegar. He loves it. Wonderful, mild flavor profile. It comes seasoned and unseasoned. The seasoned rice vinegar has a little bit of sugar in it. The unseasoned does not. Either one will work. And then some canola oil. Now kimchi would have one ingredient in it that I don't have and can't hardly find, and that is actually a salted pickled shrimp paste. But we're just trying to mimic the flavors. And that's it for the sauce. Look at that. Kimchi has a red, because they slather it with that paste right there. They slather that cabbage with that. If you ever get a chance to try kimchi, you should. Now, you can use the big, long English cucumbers if you want, but they had some beautiful little pickling cucumbers at the grocery store. So I'm just going to use those. Slice them. I like the peel. I've just scrubbed them. I like the peeling on mine. If you don't, you can peel them. And this really would keep in your refrigerator for a week if you wanted it, if it lasted that long. Really, it could last as long as you wanted. I mean, kimchi is kept for years sometimes, a year, 2 years. The older it is, the different flavors. There's new kimchi, there's old kimchi, aged, different types. But this would never last that long around me because I love this. Wonderful. This particular dish is great served alongside like a grilled piece of meat or a hamburger steak. Sometimes I like to just grill hamburger steaks, and I like to have that crunchy, cool flavor, and by cool I mean temperature cold, not heat cold. I like to have that alongside a grilled piece of meat because I think it just complements the flavor of that. And you just put these in there, and that's all there is to it. And then it just needs to sit for a while to let the cucumbers absorb the flavors, and almost a pickly type thing. This is a quick pickle. This is not one you would preserve and put in jars like regular pickles, but it's just meant to be eaten from the refrigerator. You would need to keep it in the refrigerator though. I love cucumbers, and they're very healthy, very good for you. That smells so good. Last one, and then you just stir this up. Great little side dish. You could add some radishes to this if you wanted to. If you could find a daikon radish, which is that long white radish that sometimes you'll find in the grocery stores. It's a Chinese radish called daikon. That would be good in here too. I'm going to switch to a spoon. And I'm just going to stir that up and get those cucumbers flavored with all of that wonderful, delicious flavor. And that's all there is to it. And you will always find in a Korean restaurant or in a Korean home, if you're eating Korean food, you will always get all kinds of this stuff first. They put out a full, really a buffet almost, of little starter, appetizer type things. I believe they call it banchan. You'll have to forgive me, I don't speak Korean. But they always will have that on the dish. So something like this, kimchi served with every meal. Different types of appetizer things are always served with your meal. So there's just a quick little pickle. I'm going to take a quick break. When I come back, we're going to do our green beans, and then we're going to eat this wonderful Korean meal. I'll be back in just a few minutes. And welcome back. Now, let's get our green beans made. Now, I have a skillet here that is hot, and I'm going to use some peanut oil, but if you don't have peanut oil, you can use canola oil. Peanut oil is used a whole lot in Asian type cooking. You want some fresh snap green beans. I kind of like them long, but if you don't want them long, you don't have to. You can cut them in half, but I kind of like the look of them long. You hear that? That sizzle? That's what you want. We are going to saute these green beans, about a pound, until they're just blistery hot. And they actually do start getting a little bit of a brown color on them, and that's when you know that they're ready. They're hot. That's a hot pan though. Let me get my tongs. Maybe a little bit much. Now I'm going to get them all coated with the oil, and then I'm going to leave them alone for a minute, and I'll show you as we go how to do them. They're already starting to blister, but that's good. That's what we want. Have you ever gotten the spicy Szechuan beans in the grocery or in a restaurant? Oh, I love those things. Okay, we're going to make the sauce that goes on here. We're going to use some ginger. about a teaspoon. Remember, I said ginger and garlic are kind of the, you know, how we use a lot of onion, celery, and carrot as basis for a lot of recipes and soups and things. Well, in Chinese or Asian cooking, and in this case Korean, ginger and garlic are main flavor profiles. About a teaspoon or so of the fresh ginger. Then you want some garlic, some toasted sesame oil. That really is a wonderful flavor. Some salt, and I'm going to put my toasted sesame seeds on the end. Now here's an ingredient. This is that chili paste that we talked about earlier. About 2 teaspoons, pretty spicy stuff. You could use the gochujang that you used in your cucumbers if you wanted to. Here's an ingredient that you can find in most all grocery stores. You don't even need to go to an Asian type store. And it's oyster sauce. Don't shy away from it. I don't like oysters at all. But this particular condiment has a flavor profile that is so good, it doesn't taste like oysters. So don't be scared because it says oyster sauce. You want about 3 teaspoons, if I can get it out of there. Come on, you. Let's get that going. It's a very thick, briny type flavor. There we go. About 3 teaspoons of this. Smells good. It is good. Keep this in your refrigerator door. Keep forever, you know, as long as you keep it cold. You want to stir that together. And let's stir our green beans. Okay. Whoop, one went out. Let me show you something. You see that? That's what you want. You see that green bean, how it's just really, really, really browned and crispy, and that's what you want. A little messy, but that's okay. Now these are not your traditional southern cooked till they're very, very soft green beans. These are very quick cooked, still crisp green beans. And I love them. Anytime I see this on a menu at a Chinese store, I want them. You can do asparagus this very same way if you want to. Okay. Now, I want to show you how to serve these. I have some white rice that I've just cooked, and you could serve it over rice, just like that. And then maybe sprinkle a little bit of the sesame seeds over it. Serve it just like that. Or you could serve it in a lettuce wrap. Just put a little bit in there and then fold it all up. I won't do it because I am in front of you, but in Korea, you would put that whole thing in your mouth at one time. We don't have to do that if you don't want to. I like the lettuce wrap method better for myself. I really do like that lettuce wrap thing. I think that it's a flavor and a texture difference, but that's all there is to them. Now that was easy, and you can do that. Our green beans are almost ready. You just want, you know, some of them to get that brown, crispy, sauteed yumminess on them. That's flavor. That one, I didn't get the top of them. Let me get that off there before somebody bites into that little stem. Then we're going to cut up a couple of scallions. Get my board ready here. A couple of scallions. The white and some of the green. And we're going to add that to the green beans. If you don't have scallions, don't worry about it. You don't have to put them in there. Or you could use a shallot if you had one, or a very mild onion. You don't want that strong, overpowering onion flavor. So that's why I use the scallions. Stir that in there. And then stir your sauce in. And that's it. Let it cook for just a minute to warm that sauce. You don't want a whole lot of sauce on there. It's not supposed to be saucy. Just coat those beans with a little bit of that sauce. And I'll tell you, from a nutritional point of view, when you stir fry quickly the beans like this, you're preserving so many of the nutrients. And that's it. That's all there is to it. Put them on a nice, pretty platter. They're still crisp, which is what you want. If you want them to be a little more well done, you can. But you don't have to. And then pour that flavor over there, and that's it. That's all there is to it. Your final little thing is to put your toasted sesame seeds on top. And that's all there is to our Korean feast. So here you go. We've got the Korean beef bowl two ways. We put it over rice, or we can wrap it in lettuce, which is what would be traditionally served in Korea. Then we've got our wonderful Szechuan spicy blistered green beans and our delicious cucumber salad that would be served alongside any meal in Korea. Thank you for joining with me. We're going to travel this world together through our food, and I'll see you next time on Everyday Manna.
Thank you for watching Everyday Manna with Lisa. This program is made possible by viewers like you. Your support is continually needed to keep Christian programming on the air. Please send your best financial gift to Living Faith Television in care of Everyday Manna,